The gruesome murder that won't be forgotten. The siren screamed through the cold night as red and blue lights flashed against the tall pine trees. Snowflakes drifted down like quiet ashes. Officers shouted orders. Radios crackled, and neighbors peeked through curtains, too afraid to come outside. In the middle of all that chaos stood the broken, empty shell of a small cabin. And inside that cabin, right there on the old wooden floor, lay the body everyone in Mountain Pine Valley would talk about for years. It was a gruesome murder that no one would ever forget. A murder so strange, so terrifying, and so confusing that even the bravest officers did not want to step inside alone. Someone had left a message on the wall, a message written in long, shaky strokes, a message no one could explain. Detective Aaron Blake stared at it, frozen. His breath shook in the cold air. His voice was barely a whisper as he spoke the words out loud. But before he could finish reading the last line, a loud crash echoed from the back of the cabin. The officers spun, guns raised. Something, or someone, was still inside. And that's where everything changed. Forever. Because when they pushed open that back door, the truth waiting on the other side was nothing any of them were ready for. Earlier that same morning, the town felt like any other peaceful winter day. Mountain Pine Valley was a small, calm place tucked between mountains, the kind of place where people greeted strangers and held open doors at a grocery store. Kids built snowmen, parents walked their dogs, and nobody expected anything bad to ever happen there. Most people believed the valley was too quiet for real danger. Most people, except Emma Carter. Emma was a 15-year-old girl with messy brown hair, bright hazel eyes, and a heart so soft she cried at animal rescue videos. She believed in kindness, even when people didn't always deserve it. She believed in helping others, even if it meant going out of her way. And she believed, deep down, that everyone had a good side, even if it was hidden. But lately, she felt something was wrong in the valley. She didn't know what it was or why she felt it. It was like a strange heaviness in her chest, a quiet whisper telling her that something bad was coming. She tried ignoring it, but the feeling only grew stronger every day. That morning, she walked to school with her best friend, Tyler Brooks. Tyler was funny, loud, and always humming some song he never remembered the lyrics to. "You're extra quiet today," Tyler said, nudging her shoulder as they crossed the icy sidewalk. "What's going on in that extremely complicated brain of yours?" Miss Emma deep thoughts. Emma forced a small smile. "Nothing," she lied. "I just didn't sleep well." "Nightmares again?" he asked gently. She nodded. She didn't want to talk about them. The dark shadows, the cabin, the cold feeling crawling up her spine. But the images kept flashing in her mind anyway. "Hey," Tyler said softly. "We're okay. Nothing bad ever happens here. This place is basically the safest town in America." Emma didn't argue, but the feeling didn't go away. When they reached school, students hurried inside to escape the freezing air. Emma put her books in her locker, trying to shake off the strange heaviness. She wanted to think about normal things, homework, lunch, her upcoming English project about kindness, but the feeling wouldn't leave. During first period, her teacher, Mrs. Thompson, spoke about empathy and understanding others. "Remember," she said with a warm smile, "small act of kindness can change someone's entire day, even their entire life." Emma loved lessons like this. They made the world feel brighter, safer, less scary. But just as she started feeling calm, the school's intercom buzzed loudly. "Students and staff," the principal said, sounding worried, "please remain in your classroom for a moment." Everyone stopped moving. Even Tyler, who usually joked about everything, looked nervous. Emma's heart thumped. Her hands grew cold. She didn't know why, but she felt like this moment was connected to her nightmare. After a long pause, the intercom clicked again. "Classes will continue as normal," the principal said. His voice shook slightly. "Thank you." The class whispered and murmured, curious and confused. But Emma knew something was wrong. She couldn't explain it. She just felt it. At lunch, she sat with Tyler at their usual table. He tried cheering her up with jokes, but her mind kept drifting away. Finally, he sighed. "Okay, seriously, tell me what's bothering you. No jokes. No pretending." Emma stared at the snowy mountain peaks outside the window. "Do you ever feel like something terrible is about to happen?" she whispered, "and you can't stop it." Tyler looked at her for a long moment. He didn't laugh. He didn't tease. Instead, he nodded slowly. "Sometimes," he admitted. "But that's why we stick together, right? Whatever happens, we face it. Together." His words warmed her chest a little. She smiled. Maybe she was just overthinking. After school, Emma walked home alone because Tyler had basketball practice. The sky was turning gray, and the wind carried a strange, lonely sound. She pulled her coat tighter and quickened her pace. She passed Mrs. Henderson's porch, where the elderly woman waved from behind her knitting needles. "Good afternoon, dear," Mrs. Henderson called. Emma waved back. The familiar kindness soothed her nerves. Mountain Pine Valley wasn't bad. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't. A scream cut through the air. Emma froze. The scream came from the forest at the edge of the road. A man's scream. Sharp. Terrified. Her heart raced. She looked around, but no one else was nearby. The houses were too far back, and the trees were too thick to see through. She took one small step toward the woods. Then another. "Hello," she called, her voice shaking. "Is someone hurt?" No answer. She swallowed hard. The smart thing to do would be to run home and call the police. But what if someone needed help? What if someone was hurt and alone? Emma took a deep breath and stepped into the forest. The trees blocked out the light, and the snow here was untouched. The air felt heavier, colder. The woods were silent, too silent. She walked farther in, her footsteps crunching softly. Goosebumps crawled up her arms. Then she heard it, a soft thud, followed by a faint groan. Her breath caught. She wasn't imagining it. Someone was here. "Hello," she whispered again. "I can help you. Please say something." Another weak groan. Emma hurried toward the sound, pushing branches aside. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the forest. She stepped into a small clearing and stopped dead in her tracks. There, on the snowy ground, lay a man she didn't recognize. His clothes were torn, his face pale, and his eyes filled with fear. He looked like he had been running from something terrible. Emma gasped. "Oh my gosh, sir, are you okay? What happened?" He tried to speak. His lips trembled. His voice came out broken, like he was forcing the words through pain. They're coming," he whispered. Don't let them find me." Emma's pulse thundered in her ears. Who's coming?" But before he could answer, something cracked behind her. A branch. A heavy footstep. Emma spun around. But the trees were empty. She turned back to the injured man, only to find his eyes wide with terror, staring past his shoulder. "They found us," he whispered. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind the trees. Tall, still, watching. Emma froze, unable to breathe. The figure took one slow step forward. Another. The injured man tried to crawl away, his voice shaking in panic. Emma backed up, her heart clawing at her ribs. She didn't know who the figure was or what they wanted, but every part of her body screamed run. Before she could move, the figure reached into their coat. Emma's breath caught. And then, everything happened at once. The forest exploded with motion, with noise, with fear, and the night of the gruesome murder that would never be forgotten truly began. And that is when Emma realized her nightmare wasn't just a dream. It was a warning. And suddenly, another scream ripped through the forest, louder and closer this time. It was not the injured man. It was not Emma. It came from behind them, and it was filled with pure terror. When Emma turned toward the sound, she saw something she could never unsee, something that would change everything. The scream echoed through the trees like a knife cutting through cold air. Emma froze, her breath turning to fog in front of her face. Tyler's voice used to echo through the school hallways with laughter, but this scream, this one was nothing like that. This scream was raw fear. The injured man on the ground tried to push himself up, his arm trembling as he pointed shakily toward the dark woods behind Emma. "Run," he whispered. "You need to run. Now." The tall figure who'd stepped from the trees took another slow step closer. Their face was hidden beneath a dark hood, and all Emma could see was a faint outline of their jaw and the strange, calm way they breathed, as if the chaos around them meant nothing. Another scream burst through the forest, closer, clearer. This one she recognized. Tyler! Emma gasped. Her heart slammed against her ribs so hard it hurt. Tyler wasn't supposed to be anywhere near here. He should have still been at basketball practice. Was he looking for her? Did he follow her? The figure in the hood tilted their head slightly, as if listening to the scream with curiosity. Then their hand reached inside their coat again, and Emma felt her stomach twist. The man on the ground grabbed Emma's sleeve weakly. "Don't let them see fear," he whispered. "It makes them faster." Emma didn't understand what that meant, but there was no time to ask. She backed up slowly, glancing between the hooded figure, the injured man, and the direction Tyler's scream had come from. The hooded figure suddenly stepped forward with purpose. Emma grabbed the man under his arm. "I'm not leaving you." He shook his head. "You have to. They're not here for me anymore." Another scream tore through the trees, this one unmistakably Tyler's voice yelling her name. The hooded figure turned toward the sound and started walking in that direction. Emma's heart nearly stopped. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, Tyler." She didn't even realize she'd taken off running until branches whipped against her coat. Snow crunched under her boots as she dashed toward the sound, calling his name, her breath a shaky cloud around her. "Hang on. I'm coming." Behind her, she heard the injured man groan in pain. She didn't want to leave him, but if Tyler was in danger, she couldn't let anything happen to him. Not Tyler. Not her best friend since second grade. Not the boy who always checked if she had eaten lunch and made her laugh on her worst days. The woods grew darker as she pushed deeper in. The pine trees towered like silent guards watching her run. Fear raced through her, but so did something else, determination. Her chest ached, her legs burned, but she didn't stop. A low voice drifted through the air. It wasn't Tyler. It was deeper, colder. Emma crouched behind a fallen log, her breath shaking. She peeked over it. Two figures stood in a small clearing. One was the hooded person she'd seen earlier. The other, she recognized immediately. Tyler. He was backed up against a tree, his hands trembling. What do you want?" Tyler stammered. Emma could hear the panic in his voice. The hooded figure didn't reply. They just stepped closer, silent and terrifyingly calm. Tyler picked up a stick, the only thing near him, and held it up like it was a sword. "I'm warning you," he yelled, trying to sound brave even though his voice cracked. The hooded figure raised their hand. Emma didn't wait. She jumped from behind the log before she could even think about what she was doing. "Stop!" Her voice cut through the clearing like lightning. The hooded figure paused, hand still raised. Tyler's eyes widened when he saw her. "Emma, what are you doing here?" "You followed me," she shouted back. "Well, yeah. You ran into the creepy forest alone. This isn't the time to argue." The hooded figure slowly lowered their hand, then pointed at Emma. It was a small movement, but it sent a cold wave through her body. "Why are you doing this?" she demanded. "What do you want from us?" The hooded figure didn't speak. They simply took a step toward her. Then another. Emma grabbed Tyler's wrist. "Run." He didn't argue. They sprinted through the trees, snow spraying behind them. Branches slapped their faces, their breaths coming in sharp gasps. Emma didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to get away. But the hooded figure wasn't far behind. Every few seconds, Emma heard heavy footsteps closing in. Whoever they were, they moved fast. Too fast. Tyler glanced over his shoulder. "They are gaining on us." "Don't look back." Emma shouted. "Just run." They dodged around a thick cluster of trees and stumbled into another clearing. Emma nearly slipped on a patch of ice, but Tyler caught her arm. They both kept running, weaving between trees as fast as their legs would carry them. Behind them, the footsteps grew louder, stronger, closer. Emma's lungs felt like fire. Her legs felt like weights. But she pushed herself harder. She had to protect Tyler. She had to survive. Then she saw it. An old wooden bridge stretched over a narrow river. The water below rushed hard and fast. "Over there." Emma pointed. They raced onto the bridge, their boots thudding on the old planks. Halfway across, a loud crack split the air. Tyler froze. "Did you hear that?" Emma turned just in time to see a plank snap beneath his foot. "Tyler!" she screamed. He fell to his knees as a wood splintered more. Emma lunged forward and grabbed his jacket just as the board beneath him gave way completely. His legs dangled above the freezing river. "Hold on!" she yelled. He gripped her wrist tightly, eyes wide with fear. The hooded figure stepped onto the bridge behind them. Emma's heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the rushing water. The figure moved slowly, carefully, like they knew the wood was weak, like they were used to chasing people across dangerous places. Tyler's grip began to slip. "Emma, please, don't let go." "I won't," she said fiercely, tightening her hold. "I promise." The figure took another step. The bridge groaned. Emma looked left, right, anywhere for help, but there was nothing but trees, snow, and darkness. She had to think fast. "Tyler," she whispered urgently, "when I pull you up, run. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'm not leaving without." "Yes, you are," she snapped. "We can't both be stuck here." His face twisted in fear and confusion. "Trust me," she said softly. "Please." He hesitated, then nodded. Emma dug her heels into the wood and used every ounce of strength she had left. She pulled. Tyler pushed upward. Slowly, slowly, almost there. One more heave. Tyler rolled onto the bridge beside her, coughing and shaking. "Go!" she shouted. He scrambled to his feet. The hooded figure took another step toward them, and the bridge let out a loud, cracking scream. Emma didn't wait. She ran again with Tyler, pushing off the bridge just as a section behind them buckled under the figure's weight. The hooded strangers stumbled but didn't fall, their balance terrifyingly steady. Emma and Tyler darted back into the trees, breathless. "Who are they?" Tyler cried. "I don't know." "Why are they chasing us?" "I don't know that either." But as they ran, Emma knew one thing. This wasn't normal. This wasn't random. This wasn't an accident. Whoever that person was, they had a reason, and Emma feared she knew what it was connected to. The motor in the cabin, the message on the wall, the nightmares she kept having. Someone wanted her in those woods today, and they weren't going to stop until they got what they came for. Finally, when their legs felt like rubber, they slowed down. They reached a small hollow between huge pine roots and ducked inside, hiding in the shadows. Their breaths were sharp and loud. Tyler clutched his chest. I thought I was dead." Emma placed a shaking hand on his shoulder. "Not while I'm here." He stared at her. Why would someone want to hurt us? Emma swallowed hard. "I don't know, but we have to stay together, and we have to stay quiet." They crouched there, listening. At first, there was nothing. Then, crunch, a heavy step on snow. The figure was near. Emma grabbed Tyler's hand, and they held their breath. The footsteps moved across the forest floor, slow and dragging, as if the figure was searching carefully, listening to even the tiniest sound. Emma closed her eyes. "Please don't find us. Please don't hear us. Please." The footsteps stopped, right outside their hiding place. Tyler squeezed Emma's hand so hard it hurt. The hooded figure stood still, listening, breathing. Emma's heart felt like it would explode. Seconds stretched into what felt like hours. Then, after a long moment, the footsteps slowly faded away. Tyler finally let out a shaky breath. "We need to get out of here." "We will," Emma whispered. "But we can't go back home right now. They might follow us." "So where do we go?" Emma thought for a moment. "The cabin," she said quietly. "The one where the police were earlier. Something happened there. Something important. I think it's where everything started." Tyler stared at her like she was crazy. "You want to go to the murder cabin?" "No way." "We don't have a choice," Emma said. "If we don't figure out why they're after us, they're going to keep hunting us." Tyler looked down, shaking. "This is insane." Emma squeezed his hand. "We have to trust each other. It's the only way." He nodded weakly. "Okay, but promise me no more running across breaking bridges." She gave a small, tired laugh. "No promises." They climbed out from the hollow and began walking deeper into the forest. The snow was thicker here. The trees were darker, and the air felt heavier. Emma kept glancing over her shoulder. The woods felt alive, watching, waiting. As they moved, Tyler whispered, "Do you think the injured guy is okay?" Emma's chest tightened. "I hope so." They walked quietly for a while. The forest seemed endless, but Emma kept thinking about kindness, something her teacher always spoke about. "Emma," Tyler said softly, "why'd you risk yourself for that man? You didn't even know him." She took a long breath, her voice trembling but honest. "Because sometimes people don't have anyone willing to help them. And maybe if I help others when they need it, someone will help me when I need it too." Tyler looked at her with a softness she hadn't seen before. "That's why you're the bravest person I know." Her cheeks warmed, even in the cold. But the warmth didn't last long. As they approached a cluster of trees shaped like a crooked arch, Emma spotted something in the snow. A trail. Footprints. Big ones. Fresh ones. The hooded figure's footprints, leading directly toward the cabin. Her stomach sank. "They are headed the same way," she whispered. Tyler shook his head. "Emma, maybe we shouldn't." But before he could finish, a deep rumbling sound rolled through the forest. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't wind. It was something else. Something coming toward them. The ground beneath them trembled slightly. Emma grabbed Tyler's arm, eyes wide. And then, through the trees they saw it. A second hooded figure, running straight at them, faster than any human should move. Its footsteps thundered, shaking snow from the branches above. Tyler screamed, "Emma, run!" But it was already too late. The figure lunged through the trees, and the world exploded into motion. The second hooded figure burst through the trees like a storm, snow flying everywhere as it ran straight toward Emma and Tyler. Its boots slammed against the frozen ground so hard the earth seemed to shake with every step. Emma didn't think. She grabbed Tyler's wrist and pulled. "Run!" They sprinted through the forest, their legs burning, the cold air slicing their lungs. Behind them, the figure crashed through branches and fallen logs like they were nothing. Tyler yelled over the pounding in his chest. "Why are there TWO of them?" "I don't know." Emma shouted back. "Just keep running." The second figure was close. Too close. Emma could hear its breath, fast, sharp, animal-like. She could hear the snow crunching beneath its feet faster than haze. The forest felt smaller with every step. Trees that once seemed peaceful now felt like bars of a cage. Emma's mind raced. "We can't outrun it. We need a plan." She scanned the trees as they ran. Thick trunks, sharp branches, deep patches of snow, anything they could use. Then she saw it, a fallen tree, huge and hollowed on one side, lying across a ditch. "Tyler, this way." They jumped into the ditch and slid under the fallen tree, pressing themselves flat against the inside of the hollow trunk. Their breaths puffed out in shaky clouds. Tyler whispered, "Do you think it saw us?" Emma held up a finger. "Listen." Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps crashed down the hill behind them. The figure was close. Very close. Emma covered Tyler's mouth gently as the sound approached. She could feel his heartbeat racing against her hand. Her own heartbeat felt just as wild. Snow crunched. Twigs snapped. Branches rustled. The figure stopped directly above them. Emma squeezed her eyes shut. "Don't breathe too loud. Don't move. Please don't look down." Seconds passed. Long, painful seconds. Then the figure let out a low, frustrated growl. It stomped away, heading deeper into the woods. Emma didn't move. Not yet. Only when the footsteps faded into the distance did she pull her hand away from Tyler's mouth. He let out a long breath. "That was terrifying." "Sure," Emma whispered. "It could still be close." He nodded, swallowing hard. "What now?" Emma crawled out to the hollow log, brushing snow off her jacket. "We keep moving. Quietly this time." Tyler followed her out. "Where?" "We can't go home. We can't stay here. And the cabin." "We're going," Emma said firmly. "The cabin is the only place we know the police will check again. If we can get there first, maybe we can leave a sign. A clue." Tyler blinked. "So we're gonna solve a murder now?" Emma frowned. "I don't want to, but it's already solving itself around us, and we're stuck in it. Tyler sighed. You're starting to sound like a detective movie. Emma tried to smile, but her nerves were too tangled. They made their way through the forest slowly, careful with each step. Birds scattered overhead, their wings fluttering like warnings. Emma's hands were shaking, but she kept moving. Every few minutes, she checked behind them, just in case. As they walked, the forest became more familiar. Old picnic spots from summers long gone. A tall rock they once tried, and failed, to climb. A small stream where they caught minnows when they were 8. Tyler whispered, "Hey, remember when we came out here and I slipped in the mud and almost cried?" Emma whispered back, "You did cry." "What?" "No, I didn't." "You definitely cried. Like a baby." Tyler huffed, "I was 8. "You're still dramatic." "I'm not." "I too." Tyler cracked a tiny smile despite everything. "Thanks for being normal for a second." Emma nodded. "We need normal wherever we can get it." They kept walking. The laughter faded, swallowed by the cold. After nearly an hour, the trees thinned, and Emma recognized the path leading toward the cabin. Her stomach twisted. She wasn't sure if it was fear or fate. "Emma," Tyler grabbed her sleeve. "Look." She followed his gaze to the ground. Footprints. A lot of footprints. Leading toward the cabin. Tyler's voice shook. Someone else is already there. Emma crouched and touched the prints. The snow hadn't melted around them. "They're fresh," she whispered. The air suddenly felt colder. Tyler leaned closer. "Do you think it's a police?" Emma shook her head slowly. "These prints, they are too big, too heavy. And look at the stride. They are running." Tyler's face drained of color. "So the hooded people are headed to the cabin, too." Emma nodded, and then a terrifying thought hit her. "What if they're not after us?" she whispered. "What if they're after something or someone inside the cabin?" Tyler's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes." They stood there silently. Then Tyler spoke the truth neither of them wanted to say. "The murder." Emma nodded, her throat tight. "We have to see what's happening." As they approached the cabin, the air grew still. Too still. Light from the pale sun cast long shadows across the snow. The cabin's wooden walls creaked quietly, as if whispering secrets. Emma crouched behind a tree at the edge of the clearing. "Stay low," she whispered. "Don't make a sound." Tyler crawled beside her. "Do you see anyone?" Emma scanned the clearing. And then she saw footprints circling the cabin. She saw the front door cracked open. She saw a dark smear on the snow near the steps. Mildly graphic. It wasn't blood in puddles, but streaks. Long, drag streaks. As if someone had been pulled. Tyler whispered, "Oh no." Emma felt tears sting her eyes. "We have to be brave," she said softly. "We came this far." They moved slowly, each step careful. Inside the doorway, the cabin was dark, lit only by a small oil lamp on a table. Emma pushed the door open wider. It let out a long, low creak. Tyler flinched. "Knock, knock, murderers," he whispered nervously. "Anybody home?" Emma gave him a look that said, "Please stop talking." They stepped inside. The cabin smelled like old wood and something metallic. On the wall was a message the police had found earlier. The words were jagged, torn across the wood, and beside it, fresh marks. Scratch deep, urgent, desperate. Tyler whispered, "What does it say?" Emma swallowed hard. "It says, 'They took him. Help me, before they come back.'" Tyler's hand flew to his mouth. Emma stepped forward, heart pounding, eyes scanning every corner. "Look," she whispered. Next to the toppled chair on the floor was something small. A silver bracelet, dirt-stained, bent out of shape. Emma picked it up and recognized it instantly. It belonged to the injured man they had found earlier. Tyler exhaled shakily. "So he was here again." Emma nodded. "He came back trying to warn someone." Suddenly, a cold voice cut through the cabin. "So you found it." Emma spun around. Tyler stumbled backward. Standing in the doorway was a first hooded figure. The calm one, the silent one. They stepped inside and shut the door behind them. Emma grabbed Tyler's arm. "Stay behind me." The figure didn't move toward them. Instead, they walked to the center of the cabin, standing directly under the cracked ceiling beam. Their face remained hidden behind the dark hood. Then they spoke again. "You kids should have gone home." Emma forced her voice to stay steady. "We want answers." Tyler's voice cracked. "Yeah, words. Use them." The figure chuckled softly, a calm, chilling sound. "Answers," they repeated. "You're too young to understand what's happening." Emma didn't back down. "Try us." For the first time, the figure tilted their head as if impressed. "Very well," they said slowly, "but I'll give you only one." They stepped closer. Emma's heart hammered. Tyler grabbed her sleeve. The figure continued. "You're part of this whether you want to be or not." Emma's voice shook. "Part of what?" The figure pointed to the scratch message on the wall, to the reason he died. Tyler gasped. "What?" Emma's blood ran cold. Before she could speak, before she could breathe, before she could even understand, the second hooded figure slammed into the cabin through the back door with a roar. The first figure spun around, and in one terrifying instant, the two hooded figures charged at each other. Emma screamed. Tyler stumbled backward. The cabin shook with the impact. Wood splintered. Glass shattered. Footsteps thundered across the floor. "What is happening?" Tyler shouted. "I don't know." Emma cried. "But we have to get out. Now." They raced toward the front door, but before they could reach it, a third figure stepped into the doorway. Not hooded, not masked, not calm. A woman. Messy hair. Wild eyes. Blood staining her sleeve. Breathing hard like she had been running for miles. She stared at Emma and Tyler with pure desperation, and then she whispered the words that froze their bodies in place. "Kids, run, before they kill you too." And just before Emma could ask who she was, something huge slammed into the cabin roof above them, cracking the beams. Wood exploded downward, and the entire ceiling began to collapse. The entire cabin shook as the ceiling cracked open above them. Dust exploded into the air. Wood split. Snow poured in from the roof like a waterfall as the beams buckled under something massive slamming down from above. "Move!" the wild-eyed woman screamed. Emma grabbed Tyler and dove sideways just as a heavy timber beam crashed down where they had been standing seconds before. The sound was deafening, like a huge tree breaking in half, and splinters flew across the room like tiny needles. Tyler coughed, wiping dust from his face. "What is even up there?" "A bear." Emma shook her head. "No bear hits a roof like that." The two hooded figures were still fighting in the back of the cabin, but now their battle was drowned out by the groaning beams of the failing ceiling. It was chaos, pure, unstoppable chaos. The wild-eyed woman grabbed both kids by their jackets. "You have to get out. Now." "Who are you?" Emma yelled over the crashing noise. "No time," the woman shouted. "I'm the one who wrote the message on the wall. I'm trying to stop them." Before Emma could ask anything else, another part of the ceiling cracked and dropped, smashing the table in half. "Run," the woman repeated. She shoved them toward the front door just as the back of the cabin collapsed with a roar. Snow blasted in like smoke. The fighting figures disappeared behind falling debris. Tyler's voice broke. "Emma, Joe." They rushed through the doorway, slipping on the snow as the cold air hit their faces. The woman came out behind them, shouting warnings Emma couldn't understand through the noise. The cabin groaned one last time, like an old giant crying out, and then a huge section of the roof caved in with a thunderous crash. Emma and Tyler stumbled away from the collapsing cabin, panting, their breath white clouds in the freezing air. Snowflakes drifted down, settling on the ruins. Smoke like dust rose from the broken wood. The wild-eyed woman grabbed Emma's shoulders. "Listen to me, both of you," she said, her voice trembling with fear. "You two were never supposed to be part of this. None of this is your fault. But now that you're involved, you have to stay hidden. They will chase you. They won't stop." Emma swallowed, her voice shaking. "Why? Why us?" "I can't explain everything yet," the woman said. "They are listening, always listening. But you have to trust me." Tyler raised his hands. "Lady, we don't even know your name." The woman hesitated, glancing behind her at the destroyed cabin. Then she whispered, "My name is Marlene Carter." Emma froze. Her heart stopped. Her breath caught. "Carter?" Tyler echoed, like, "Emma Carter." Emma stared at the woman. "No, that's impossible." Marlene nodded slowly. "I'm your aunt, Emma." Emma's brain spun. She didn't know what to say, didn't know what to think. She had never known she had an aunt. No one ever talked about one. Her dad never mentioned a sister. Her mom never brought her up. Why? Why keep her secret? "Aunt." Tyler whispered, "Emma, you have an aunt who fights murder hoodies for fun." Emma elbowed him. "Not helpful." Marlene stepped closer, grabbing Emma's hands. "I couldn't tell your parents what I was involved in," she said, her eyes glistening. "It was too dangerous. They thought I'd disappeared, but I never stopped watching over you." Emma shook her head, confused. "What does this have to do with the murder? Why were you in the cabin? Who are those people?" Marlene looked toward the forest, fear flickering across her face. "We need to move. I'll explain what I can, but not here." Before they took a step, a loud thud came from inside the ruined cabin. A heavy thud, followed by a deep, low growl. Tyler grabbed Emma's arm. "Oh no, they're still in there." Marlene's eyes widened. "Run. Now." They sprinted into the woods as a shadow moved inside the collapsed cabin, shifting and pushing broken boards aside. A dark figure climbed out of the rubble like something invincible. Emma forced herself to look forward, not back. Her legs pumped as she followed Marlene through the trees. Tyler stumbled behind her, gasping for air. "Emma," he shouted, "what if they see us?" Then we run faster. Branches slapped their faces and legs as they pushed deeper into the forest. The cold air clawed at their lungs. Emma didn't know where Marlene was leading them, but she could tell by the way her aunt moved, fast, sure, desperate, that she had done this many times. Finally, Marlene stopped at a thick patch of pine trees, pushing a heavy branch aside to reveal a narrow, hidden path leading downhill. "Come on," she whispered. "They won't know this trail." Emma and Tyler followed her through the hidden path until they reached a small clearing with a giant boulder in the center, moss-covered and shaped almost like a crooked heart. Marlene leaned against it, breathing hard. Emma stepped forward, her voice soft. "You're really my aunt?" Marlene nodded. "Yes, and I'm sorry you had to find out like this." Tyler crossed his arms. So, not to be rude, but why were you hiding in Murder Cabin Number 1? Marlene sighed. "I was trying to warn the police, but I was too late." "Warn them about what?" Emma asked. Marlene hesitated. Emma stepped closer. "Please, we deserve the truth." Marlene looked at Emma with eyes full of guilt. "Your parents kept you safe because they knew one day something like this might happen." Emma felt like her heart was twisting in her chest. "What do you mean?" she whispered. Marlene kneeled in front of her, holding her hands. "Emma, the man who was killed in that cabin wasn't an innocent stranger." Emma's breath caught. "You knew him?" Marlene nodded. "He was part of a group I used to be in. Before I left. Before I tried to live a normal life." "A group?" Tyler repeated. "Like a book club? A hiking group?" Marlene shook her head. "A secret group. A dangerous one. One that believes in punishing people." Emma blinked in fear. "Punishing how?" Marlene swallowed. "Anyone they judged. Anyone they decided deserved it." Tyler stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "Lady, please tell me you're joking. Please tell me your dangerous group is just a bunch of grumpy librarians or something." Marlene shook her head. Emma whispered, "Why were you in that group?" Marlene looked away, shame clouding her face. "Because I thought we were helping people. I thought we were protecting the weak, standing up for the ones no one defended. But I was wrong. So wrong. They changed. They became something cruel, something violent. People started getting hurt." Emma's stomach twisted. "Were they the ones who killed that man?" "Yes," Marlene said softly. "And now they want to erase everyone who knows the truth." Tyler's voice cracked. "So they want to erase you?" And anyone I talk to, Marlene said, her eyes locked with Emma's. And now they want to erase you both. Emma stepped back, fear crashing over her. But why us? She asked. We didn't do anything. Marlene nodded. Exactly. But they don't care. Truth makes them nervous. Witnesses make them dangerous. Tyler groaned. Great. So now we're in a creepy mystery club fight. Emma closed her eyes, trying not to cry. She wasn't supposed to be in danger. She wasn't supposed to be running for her life. She was supposed to be doing homework, eating dinner with her parents, playing games with Tyler. Why us? Why me? Marlene touched Emma's cheek gently. Emma, I'm so sorry. Your kindness, your heart, it's why I left the group. Seeing you grow up reminded me that the world needs more gentle people, not destroyers. Emma felt tears spill onto her cheeks. But I'm scared, she whispered. I know, Marlene said softly. And being scared is okay. Being scared means you're still fighting to stay alive. Emma sniffed, wiping her face. Tyler stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. Hey, we'll stick together. Remember what you told me? Kindness comes back when we need it. Well, I'm here, because you helped me more times than I can count. Emma smiled weakly. Marlene looked at them both. We need to leave this forest. If the group finds us here, it's over. There's a small safe house my friend set up a mile from here. We can rest there, plan our next move. Tyler tugged Emma's jacket sleeve. Sound good, because personally, I'm ready for a break from almost dying every 5 minutes. They started moving through the trees again, following Marlene down a narrow slope. The forest thinned as they approached quieter ground. The snow was deeper here, soft and untouched. Emma whispered, Aunt Marlene, what does the message on the wall really mean? They took him. Help me. Marlene paused, closing her eyes. The man who was killed was trying to expose the group. He had evidence, proof, but someone found out. He didn't make it. Emma's voice trembled. And the part that said before they come back? Marlene looked over her shoulder. They weren't finished with him. Emma shivered. She didn't want to know more. They continued down the slope. Then, an eerie silence fell. Even the birds stopped singing. Tyler frowned. Why did everything get quiet? Marlene's face went pale. Run, she whispered. Don't turn around. Just run. Emma didn't question it. They bolted down the slope, snow exploding behind their feet. But halfway down, Tyler tripped. Tyler! Emma screamed, reaching for him. She grabbed his hand. But then the ground beneath them shook violently. A sound boomed through the woods, a roar so loud it shook snow from the trees. Emma turned toward the noise. A giant, dark shape burst from between the trees, tall, hooded, moving with impossible speed. But this one wasn't like the others. Its mask was white. Its hood was torn. Its coat was covered in snow and date. And in its hand was something long, sharp, glinting. Tyler screamed. Emma yanked him up. Marlene grabbed both kids. But the masked figure moved like a shadow. It closed the distance in seconds. Emma's heart nearly stopped. Marlene shouted, Down! She tackled Emma and Tyler to the ground, just as the masked figure swung the sharp object through the air, slicing straight through the tree trunk beside them, and sending it crashing down toward all three of them. The tree creaked, groaned, tipped, and then it began to fall right on top of them. The falling tree seemed to drop in slow motion. The cracking trunk screamed through the forest as a huge pine leaned, groaned, and finally crashed downward toward Emma, Tyler, and Marlene. Emma shut her eyes. Tyler screamed. Marlene shoved them sideways with strength Emma didn't know she had. The huge pine slammed into the ground beside them with a thunderous crash, spraying snow into the air like a white explosion. A thick branch missed Emma's head by inches. Tyler fell beside her, hands over his head. Marlene grunted as the weight of the snow-covered branches pressed onto her back. Move, she gasped. Roll out. Emma grabbed Tyler's arm and rolled to the left. Marlene did the same on the right, barely escaping before another branch snapped under the weight and smacked against the ground where she had been. Snow rained down, a soft but eerie contrast to the violent crash. Emma scrambled to her feet, heart crashing against her ribs. Tyler clung to her jacket, shaking so hard she could feel the tremors through the fabric. And then, the masked figure stepped over the fallen pine, slow and steady, like nothing could stop it. Its white mask reflected the faint light from the snowy sky, pale and emotionless. The sharp object in its hand glinted dangerously, not a knife, not quite an axe, something in between. Something cruel-looking. Marlene stumbled to her feet, wincing. "Kids, this way." They sprinted downhill through the snow. The forest blurred as they ran, branches slapping their faces. Emma's breath burned. Tyler coughed, gasping, but he kept pace beside her. The masked figure followed silently. No shouting, no heavy breathing, just a cold, steady chase. Emma didn't understand how something could move so fast yet make so little sound. It wasn't natural. It wasn't normal. "Marlene." Emma gasped. "Where are we going?" "There's a ravine up ahead." Marlene shouted back. "We can lose him there." Tyler yelled. "Lose him how?" "By falling in and breaking both our legs." "No," Marlene said. "By hiding where no one else would think to look." Tyler groaned. Why can't dangerous people ever look in normal hiding spots? Like behind a couch. Emma almost laughed. Almost, but fear strangled the sound. As they reached the bottom of the slope, the trees opened into a wide ravine. The ground dipped sharply into a frozen stream, rocks poking through the ice like teeth. A fallen log stretched across like a natural bridge. Marlene pointed. "Over the log. Quick!" Emma glanced back. The masked figure was already halfway down the slope, moving with that same terrifying calmness. They reached the log. Marlene crossed first, her boot slipping slightly on the frozen bark. Emma followed, arms out for balance. Tyler took a deep breath an inch behind her. Halfway across, Emma heard the crunch of snow behind them. She forced herself to look. The masked figure was stepping onto the log, and it wasn't slipping. Not even a little. "Go faster." Emma cried. "I'm trying." Tyler squeaked. Marlene jumped off a log on the other side. "Come on, hurry." Emma reached the end and leaped to the ground. She turned back to help Tyler. Tyler reached out to her, but the masked figure raised its weapon. Emma's breath froze. Tyler's eyes went wide. "Move, Tyler!" Emma screamed. Tyler threw himself forward. Emma grabbed his coat and yanked him off the log just as a masked figure swung the blade downward. It struck the log, hard, slicing deep into the wood and splitting it almost in half. The entire bridge cracked. The masked figure lost its footing. For the first time, it stumbled. And then, the log snapped under the figure's weight. The masked attacker dropped into the ravine, crashing through branches and rocks with a muffled, heavy series of thuds. Tyler stayed wide-eyed. Is it dead?" Marlene shook her head. "No, not even close. Keep moving." Emma shivered. How could anything survive that? But she didn't need to know right now. They climbed up the other side of the ravine, pulling themselves over rocks, panting and trembling. The cold air stung their lungs, but they kept going. After several minutes, the forest grew quieter. The rage of chasing footsteps faded. Finally, they slowed. Tyler collapsed to his knees. "Please, tell me we get a break." Emma leaned against a tree, her breath shaky. Marlene scanned the forest, still tense. "We have a few minutes. Not long." "Why won't they stop?" Emma whispered. Marlene looked at her softly. "Because they believe anyone linked to the truth is a threat. Even kids." "That's insane." Tyler cried. "I know." Marlene swallowed hard. "I never wanted you involved. I tried to stop this before it reached you." Emma stepped closer. "Tell us everything. Please." Marlene hesitated, but then she nodded. "All right," she said softly. "Let me tell you how this all started." Emma and Tyler sat on a snow-covered log. Marlene knelt in front of them, the cold air swirling around her like a ghost. "When I was younger, not much older than you, Emma, I met a group of people who called themselves the Cleansers." Emma flinched. "Cleansers? Like they clean things?" Marlene's face darkened. "Not things. People." A chill went through Emma. "They believed Marlene said that some people were broken or dangerous or unworthy. They said they wanted to clean those people from the world. At first, it sounded like they helped victims of crime. They protected the weak. That's why I joined. I thought we were saving people. But you weren't, Emma whispered. Marlene shook her head. No, they twisted everything. They started choosing who deserved to stay and who didn't. Tyler swallowed. That's messed up. Marlene nodded. I left when I realized they were hurting innocent people. People they thought were wrong just because they didn't fit their beliefs. And when I tried to expose them, they came after me. Emma felt anger rising in her chest. But why come after U.S.? Marlene closed her eyes. Because the man they murdered, the one in the cabin, was bringing me evidence, proof of everything they'd done. He told me he also saw something about Emma. Emma's breath caught. Me? Why me? Marlene hesitated. Tyler whispered, Emma, are you okay? Emma's hands were trembling. What does any of this have to do with me? Marlene looked at her gently. Because he believed you were the reason I left the cleansers. He believed your kindness reminded me what real good looks like. Emma blinked, stunned. Huh? Something she did change someone's life? You made me see everything more clearly, Marlene continued. You helped me remember the world wasn't full of darkness. That's why they're angry. They think you're the one who ruined their plans. Tyler frowned. That's the dumbest reason to chase a kid I've ever heard. Emma swallowed hard. Her whole life, she tried to be kind because she wanted the world to be better. She never thought her kindness could put someone in danger or save someone either. Marlene squeezed her hand. Your heart is stronger than theirs. That's why they fear you. Emma wiped her eyes, surprised by the warmth she felt through her fear. But the moment didn't last long. A loud, distant crash echoed through the forest. Marlene shot to her feet. We need to move. Tyler groaned. Again! My legs feel like noodles. Emma helped him stand. Come on. We can do it. They walked through a thicker patch of trees until Marlene stopped at an old, abandoned shack hidden between the pines. It was small, crooked, with broken windows and a roof patched with sheet metal. This is the safe house. Tyler whispered. It looks like the house termites build for fun. It's safer than the forest, Marlene said. Inside. They stepped inside the shack. The air was cold, but the walls blocked the wind. A small lantern sat on a wooden crate. Marlene lit it, and warm light filled the tiny space. Emma collapsed onto a blanket spread across the floor. Tyler dropped beside her. Marlene sat near the lantern. We'll rest here for a bit. For the first time in hours, Emma let her eyes close. Her pulse slowed. Her breath steadied. A little calm. A little safety. A little hope. She heard Marlene whisper to herself, We just need to last a night. Then I'll bring them to the outpost. We'll be okay. Emma smiled softly. We'll be okay. But then, a soft thump sounded outside the shack. Emma sat up instantly. Tyler froze. Marlene grabbed a metal pipe leaning against the wall. Another thump, then a scraping sound. Emma held her breath. What is that? Tyler whispered. Marlene shook her head. Stay quiet. The scraping grew louder, moving closer to the shack door. Something dragged across the wood. Something heavy. Slow. Emma's heart pounded. Then, the doorknob began to turn. Marlene raised the pipe. Get behind me, she whispered. Emma and Tyler crawled behind her, breath shaking. The door creaked open, and a figure stepped inside. Emma's heart nearly burst out of her chest. But it wasn't a masked stranger. It was a man, bruised, bleeding, barely able to stand. Emma recognized him instantly. The injured man from the forest. He stumbled forward, eyes filled with terror. They found me, he whispered. They know where you are. They are coming. He collapsed to his knees, and behind him, through the cracked doorway, a white mask appeared in the darkness. The masked figure stood there silently, watching, waiting, and then it stepped inside the safe house. The masked figure filled the doorway like a living nightmare. Its white mask glowed faintly in the lantern light, smooth and empty like a frozen face that couldn't feel anything. Snow dripped off its dark coat, forming tiny puddles on the old wooden floor. The injured man, the one who had stumbled into the shack moments before, gasped, trying to crawl backward. "No," he whispered. "No, please." But his voice was too weak. His strength was gone. Emma clutched Tyler's hand so tightly her fingers hurt. Tyler's breathing turned fast and shaky. Marlene stepped between the masked figure and the kids, raising her metal pipe with both hands. "Stay behind me, no matter what." The masked figure stepped forward, smooth and slow, like it had all the time in the world. It didn't speak. It didn't breathe loudly. It just moved. The injured man on the floor tried to push himself up again, but his legs gave out. "Don't let them take you." Marlene's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "You stay back." The masked figure stopped, only for a second. Then it twisted its head slightly, almost like it was listening to something only it could hear. Emma shivered. Why did it do that? What was it hearing? The lantern flickered. Shadows jumped on the walls. Tyler whispered, "Emma, what do we do? What do we do?" Emma swallowed hard. "We trust Marlene." But even Marlene's hands were trembling. The masked figure lifted its weapon, that long, sharp object that looked like it came from someone who didn't care about mercy, and pointed it at Marlene. Then it rushed forward. "Move!" Marlene shouted. She swung the pipe with everything she had. It connected with the figure's shoulder in a sharp, loud crack. Emma felt the vibration of the hit from across the room. Most people would have stumbled. Most people would have at least reacted. But the masked figure barely flinched. It reached for Marlene. She dodged, grabbing the kids and pulling them toward the back corner of the shack. "Under the trapdoor," she yelled. "Now!" Emma hadn't seen a trapdoor at all, but Marlene kicked aside a thin layer of old blankets and revealed a wooden square embedded in the floor. She yanked it up. Cold air gusted out from the dark space below. Tyler's eyes widened. "We're going in there." "Yes." Marlene barked. "Go." The masked figure lunged again, slashing downward. The blade sliced into the floorboards where Marlene had been standing literally 1 second earlier. Emma and Tyler scrambled into the dark hole, landing on Date. Marlene dropped in after them and slammed the trapdoor shut just as the masked figure's weapon hit it hard from above. Though it shuddered, dust rained down. Emma covered her head. Tyler curled against her. Above them, heavy footsteps moved across the floor of the shack. The masked figure paced slowly, the blade dragging along the boards with a steady, sickening scrape. Marlene whispered, "Stay quiet. Don't breathe too loud." The space was tiny, barely tall enough to sit in. The air smelled of wet soil, old leaves, and rusted metal. Emma felt Tyler shaking beside her, but she wrapped an arm around him. "You're okay," she whispered. "We're okay. Just stay small." Tyler nodded, tears in his eyes. The masked figure stumped above them, searching every corner. Boards creaked. Furniture shifted. The injured man moaned weakly. Emma squeezed her eyes shut. She prayed, to anyone, anything, that the figure wouldn't find the trapdoor. Marlene pressed her ear against the underside of the wooden hatch. After several seconds, she whispered, "He's checking the windows." Emma felt a flicker of hope. But then, the footsteps returned to the center of the shack. The masked figure stood right on top of the trapdoor. Emma stopped breathing. Tyler held both hands over his mouth. Then, the masked figure pressed downward. The trapdoor creaked. Marlene inhaled sharply. "No." The masked figure pressed again, harder this time. The old hinges squealed. Emma felt panic burst inside her chest. It found them. It found them. It found. Suddenly, a loud snap echoed from the front of the shack. The masked figure spun toward the noise. Its footsteps thundered across the floor. Marlene whispered, "Someone's out there." Emma grabbed Tyler's hand again. A distant voice called out from outside the shack. "Hey, I know you're in there." Emma felt her heart shoot into her throat. She knew that voice. Tyler whispered, "No way." The masked figure rushed to the open doorway. There was a heavy thud, like two bodies colliding, and then shouting, grunting, the sound of a struggle. Marlene pushed the trapdoor open an inch and peeked up through the crack. Emma and Tyler crowded behind her, straining to see. Outside the shack, half in view through the doorway, a man wrestled with a masked figure. Snow flew everywhere as they struggled. "Who is that?" Tyler whispered. Emma squinted. The man was tall, with a dark jacket and messy hair. His face was bruised like he'd fallen hard or been hit earlier. But his voice was familiar. Then she saw him clearly, and her heart dropped. "Dad," she whispered. Her father, who she thought was safe at work, far away, was fighting the masked attacker with nothing but his bare hands. Emma gasped. "He followed us." Tyler blinked. "Your dad is, okay, not gonna lie, kind of awesome." Marlene's eyes widened. He wasn't supposed to be here. Outside, Emma's dad pushed the masked figure against the side of the shack. Snow and broken sticks fell around them. "You're not touching MY Kid," he roared. Emma felt tears burn her eyes. She had never heard her father yell like that. Not in anger, not in fear. He wasn't yelling because he hated the figure. He was yelling because he loved her. Tyler whispered, "He came all this way for you." Emma nodded, wiping her nose. "Yeah, he did." The masked figure swung its weapon. Emma's dad ducked just in time, the blade slicing through the wooden wall behind him. The force of the swing threw the masked figure off balance. Her father grabbed a loose branch from the ground and slammed it into the attacker's chest. It cracked in half, but the blow bored him a second. One precious second. "Run, Emma!" her father shouted. "Run." Marlene's face hardened. "We have to help him." Emma crawled out of the trapdoor the moment Marlene lifted it. Tyler followed, and Marlene climbed out last. They rushed outside into the freezing air. Emma's dad saw her, actually saw her, for the first time. "Emma," he cried. "Thank God." His sentence cut off as a masked figure slammed into him, knocking him onto the snow. "Dad!" Emma screamed. The masked figure raised its weapon to strike. Marlene charged. She tackled the masked figure from the side, knocking both of them into the snow. The weapon flew from the attacker's hand and slid across the ground. Emma grabbed her dad's arm and helped him stand. He winced, holding his side. "Are you hurt? Are you okay? Did they touch you?" "We're fine. We're fine," Emma said, tears streaming. Tyler held up his thumb weakly. "Still alive over here." Then, the masked figure rose again. Marlene grabbed a rock from the ground and threw it at the figure's knee. It barely flinched. It turned toward her, but before it could reach her, a loud crack echoed through the forest. Emma spun toward the sound. Her father was holding a flare gun, bright orange, shaking in his grip. He fired again. Asterisk, asterisk, the flare exploded into the masked figure's shoulder, flames bursting out with the asterisk, asterisk. The figure stumbled, grabbing at the burning coat. Snow fell as it tried to smother the fire. "Go!" Emma's dad shouted. "Go now!" Marlene grabbed the kids and pulled them into the forest. Emma looked back once, just once, to see the masked figure rolling in the snow, extinguishing the flame, and beginning to rise. Still alive, still coming. Emma ran harder. The trees flew past. Branches ripped at her sleeves. Snow stung her cheeks. Everything blurred except the sound of her dad's footsteps right behind her. They didn't stop running until the forest opened into a large clearing surrounded by tall pines. In the center stood something Emma didn't expect at all. A cabin, but not like the others. This one had metal bars on the windows, a reinforced steel door, and a tall antenna on the roof. A security outpost. Marlene gasped in relief. "We made it!" Emma's dad grabbed her hand. "Inside! Hurry!" They reached the door. Marlene punched a code into a metal keypad. The lock clicked open. Tyler threw his arms into the air. "Yes! Safe House 2.0. They piled inside. Marlene slammed the door and locked it. Emma leaned against the wall, catching her breath. Tyler collapsed onto the floor. Emma's dad wrapped her in a tight hug, burying his face in her hair. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. Emma hugged him back, crying softly. "I thought you didn't know where I was." He kissed the top of her head. "I always know where you are. You're my kid." Emma felt warm for the first time since this nightmare began. But the warmth didn't last. because suddenly a loud knock echoed on the metal door. Everyone froze. The knock came again. Slow, hard, icy. Emma stepped back. Marlene whispered, "They found us." Tyler swallowed. How? How did they find us so fast? A voice came from outside the door. A voice that wasn't masked. A voice that wasn't deep or inhuman. A voice that sounded almost. Normal. Open the door. The voice called. We need to talk about Emma. Emma's blood turned to ice. Tyler whispered, "Please tell me that's just like a forest ranger, a lost hiker, a friendly moose who learned English." But Emma didn't answer, because a voice outside the door called again, louder, "Emma, we know what you are." The room fell dead silent. Emma's dad stepped in front of her. Marlene grabbed her pipe again. Tyler whispered, "Okay, nope, I'm officially done. What does that even mean?" "What you are. You're a kid, a nice kid." Emma stared at the door, her heart pounding. Something about that voice, something inside her, felt wrong, like someone had reached into a memory and pulled out a thought she didn't know was there. Then the voice spoke a third time. Calm, cold, sure. You can't hide forever. Not from us. Not from what's coming. Not from who she will become. The metal door shook, as something slammed into it with impossible strength. The metal door shook so violently that Emma felt the vibrations travel through the floor and up her legs. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The lantern rattled on its hook. The whole outpost seemed to groan under the pressure of the blows hitting the other side. Emma's dad grabbed her shoulders. "Stay behind me, no matter what." Marlene raised a metal pipe again, planting her feet firmly as if she dared the entire world to try and pass her. Tyler clung to Emma's sleeve, whispering rapid, panicked prayers under his breath. The voice outside spoke again. Calm, steady, terrifying in its certainty. "You can't hide, Emma. We know what you are becoming." Emma didn't understand. What she asterisk was asterisk. What she was asterisk becoming asterisk. She was just Emma. Just a girl who tried to help people and be kind. But the voice sounded like it knew a secret about her, one she didn't even know herself. Emma looked at Marlene. What are they talking about? Why do they keep saying that? Marlene swallowed hard. Emma, their group, the cleansers, they believe people have roles to play in the world. Some are protectors. Some are destroyers. Some are leaders. They think you. She hesitated. Emma's dad snapped, "Don't tell her that nonsense. She's a kid. That's all." But Marlene didn't look convinced. And deep inside, Emma felt a knot of fear twist. What did they think she was? Another thunderous slam shook the door. Metal dented inward like it was made of tin rather than steel. Tyler yelped, "Okay, question. How strong are these people? Do they lift cars for breakfast?" Emma wanted to laugh. Or cry. Or both. Instead, she whispered, "We can't stay here." Marlene nodded. "There's a second exit in the basement, but we have only a few seconds before they break through." Emma's dad motioned toward the stairs. "Go. I'm right behind you." They rushed to the wooden staircase. Emma felt Tyler gripping her arm, refusing to let go. Her dad stayed last, guarding them. But halfway down, the metal door blasted open. The sound was like a bomb going off. Cold wind, snow, and broken metal flew into the room. Emma stumbled on the steps and fell onto her hands. Tyler pulled her up, eyes wide with terror. Footsteps, multiple, heavy, steady, entered the outpost. Emma didn't need to look back to know. Asterisk, they were here. More than one this time. More than 3. At least 5 masked figures, the asterisk. The cleansers. Go! Marlene shouted. They reached the bottom of the stairs. Marlene shoved aside a metal shelf, revealing a narrow service tunnel with a grate in front of it. Emma crawled through first, then Tyler, then Marlene. Her father followed, pulling the grate closed behind him. But before he was fully through, a gloved hand reached under the grate and grabbed his ankle. Emma screamed, "Dad!" Her father gasped in pain and kicked with his free leg, trying to shake loose. But the grip was inhumanly strong. Marlene grabbed his arms and pulled. Tyler grabbed Emma, pulling her farther down the tunnel. Emma grabbed her dad's jacket, refusing to let go. "Please," she cried. "Please let him go." Suddenly, Marlene slammed her metal pipe down between the great bars onto the attacker's wrist. A dull crack sounded. The grip loosened. Her father yanked his leg free and crawled forward, pulling the grate shut behind him. The tunnel filled with darkness and the echo of the masked figures pounding on the metal grate. Marlene whispered sharply, "Move!" They crawled deeper into the tunnel, the cold earth scraping their hands and knees. The air grew tighter, colder, smelling of dirt and old metal. Far behind them, the masked figures tried pulling the grate off. Emma whispered, "How long until they break through?" Marlene didn't look back. "Minutes." Tyler squeaked. "Minutes is not a comforting number." Emma's dad whispered, "Just keep crawling. Don't stop." The tunnel sloped downward until finally it opened into a small underground storage room. Wooden crates lined the walls. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. A single emergency light flickered above them, casting the room in a dim orange glow. Emma stood and brushed dirt from her jacket. Tyler leaned against a wall, panting. Okay, tell me there's a tank or a spaceship in one of those boxes." Marlene walked straight to a crate, pried it open, and pulled out a first aid kit, flares, and a small radio. "We call for help," she said firmly. "One last time." Emma's dad checked the radio. "The signal might not work down here." "Try," Marlene insisted. Emma stood near the wall, trembling. She didn't know what scared her more, the cleansers chasing them, or the words a voice outside the door had spoken. They knew what she was becoming. She whispered, "Aunt Marlene, what did they mean? Tell me the truth." Marlene paused, her hand hovering over the radio switch. Emma stared into her aunt's eyes. "I need to know." Marlene sighed deeply. "They believe," she said softly, "that you aren't ordinary. Your kindness, your empathy, your way of helping people, it scares them." "Why?" Emma whispered. "Because people like you," Marlene said, "change things. You make others better. You make people question their beliefs. The cleansers think the world needs fear to stay in control. But you bring the opposite. You make fear weaker. That makes them see you as a threat." Tyler blinked. "So she's dangerous because she's nice asterisk." Marlene nodded. "To people who live off fear? Yes." Emma felt warmth surge in her chest, confused, sad, but warm. She wasn't dangerous. She wasn't broken. She wasn't becoming something dark. She was becoming someone stronger. "Emma," Marlene continued softly, "the murder in that cabin, the man they killed, he believed he could bring their downfall one day. Not by fighting. Not by violence." She touched Emma's cheek gently, "but by reminding people that kindness is stronger than cruelty." Emma felt tears fall. Her whole life she thought kindness was small, quiet, soft, but now she understood something huge. Kindness was powerful enough to scare people who lived off fear. Tyler sniffed. "Okay, not gonna lie, that's kind of awesome." Emma smiled weakly and wiped her face. Her father squeezed her shoulder. "You've always been special. Always." Suddenly, a loud metallic screech echoed from the tunnel entrance. Emma spun around. The grate was bending, cracking, breaking. Emma's dad shouted, "They're coming. Marlene, get that radio working." Marlene turned the dial desperately. Come on. Static crackled. Then, a faint voice filtered through. "Station is receiving. Repeat, identify yourself." Marlene shouted into the radio, "This is Marlene Carter. We are under attack by the cleansers and need immediate backup. Coordinates." But before she finished, asterisk the Great exploded open dot asterisk. The cleansers poured into the room. 5 masked figures. Silent, cold, moving like shadows. Emma froze. Tyler let out a squeal. Her father grabbed a broken crate plank as a makeshift weapon. Marlene shouted, "Stay behind me." The lead figure stepped forward, the one with a pure white mask, the one who had chased them for hours, the one who had spoken outside the door. He tilted his head at Emma. "You cannot hide," the voice said. Not through a mask. Not through a speaker. Just a man's voice. You shouldn't exist. Emma's dad roared, "Don't you touch her!" He charged the masked figure. The other cleansers moved in. Chaos exploded. Marlene swung her metal pipe at another attacker. The pipe hit with a hollow clang, echoing through the room. Tyler ducked a swinging arm and scrambled behind Emma. Emma grabbed Tyler and pressed her back against the wall. Her father fought the white masked leader, blocking blows, pushing him back. But the figure moved too fast, too steady. He grabbed Emma's dad by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Emma screamed, "Dad!" Marlene hit the leader from behind. Hard. The figure stumbled but didn't fall. Two cleansers grabbed Marlene, pinning her arms. Tyler gasped, "We're gonna die. We're gonna." "No," Emma whispered. "No, we're not." She stepped forward. Something rose inside her. Not anger, not fear, but something warm. Something brave. Something she didn't know she had until this exact moment. She shouted, "Stop!" And everything froze. The cleansers turned to her. The white masked leader stepped closer. "You," he said softly, "you are the one who destroys us." Emma shook her head. "I'm the one who stops you." The masked figure tilted his head. "With what?" Emma's voice trembled. "With kindness." Tyler slapped his forehead. "Emma, this is a terrible time to deliver a speech." But Emma wasn't backing down. She stepped between the cleansers and her father. "You hurt people because you think fear makes you strong," she said. "But fear makes you weak. It makes you hide behind masks, behind violence, behind lies." The leader stiffened. Emma kept going. She didn't know where the words came from, but they came from her heart, strong and sure. "Kindness isn't weakness," she said. "Kindness is what makes people brave. Kindness is what made Marlene leave you. It's what made that man try to expose you. It's what makes families fight to protect each other." The cleansers shifted uncomfortably. Emma stepped closer to the leader. "And it's what will make people stop following you. You can scare people, but you can't control their hearts." For the first time, the white masked figure stepped back. Like Emma had physically pushed him, even though she hadn't touched him. "What are you?" he whispered. Emma took a deep breath. "I'm someone who believes the world is better than you say it is." The leader raised his weapon, but his hand trembled. Behind him, a new voice shouted, "Freeze! This is federal authority." Floodlights exploded into the underground room. Officers in heavy gear stormed in through a secondary tunnel behind the cleansers. Marlene gasped, "The outpost and the signal. They found us." The cleansers panicked. The white masked leader turned toward Emma again. "This isn't over," he hissed. "Your kindness will destroy you." Emma stepped forward boldly. "No, it will destroy you." Federal agents tackled the cleansers. Masks hit the ground. Weapons clattered. Shouts echoed. Handcuffs clicked. Emma's dad rushed to her, pulling her into the tightest hug she'd ever felt. Marlene collapsed to her knees with relief. Tyler fell onto the floor, hands in the air. "Thank you, government. I will never complain about math class again." Emma laughed through her tears. For the first time since the nightmare began, she felt safe. Hours passed. Questions were asked. Statements were taken. Blankets were handed out. Emma sat beside Tyler and Marlene, wrapped in warmth, her father's arm around her. An officer approached. "They're all in custody," he said. "It's over. You're safe now." Emma nodded, feeling a strange mix of exhaustion and strength. "What will happen to them?" she asked. "They'll face justice," the officer said. "Because of you." Emma blinked. "Me?" The officer smiled gently. "You stood up to them. You held on to the kind of goodness that terrifies people like that. Most adults can't do that. But you did." Emma felt warmth spread through her chest, a quiet kind of pride. Tyler nudged her. "You know, Emma, if your kindness is some kind of superpower, that makes me your sidekick." Emma laughed. "You're more like backup comic relief." Tyler bowed. "I accept." Marlene placed a hand on Emma's shoulder. "You saved us," she whispered, "in a way only you could." Emma didn't feel like a hero. She felt like a kid who refused to let go of what she believed in. And maybe that was enough. Her father hugged her again. Let's go home. Emma smiled. Yeah, home sound perfect. As they walked away from the outpost together, Emma, her dad, Marlene, and Tyler, snow began to fall gently around them. Soft, quiet, peaceful. No masks, no fear, no darkness. Just family, friendship, and the simple truth Emma had always believed. Asterisk, asterisk, kindness doesn't make you weak. Kindness makes you powerful, asterisk, asterisk. And the world needed that kind of power more than anything.